My name is Eleonore Stump, and I teach philosophy at St. Louis University. And I am here with this wonderful group at Tantur in Jerusalem to talk about philosophy, theology, and narrative, especially the great cultural foundational narratives of the West, biblical narratives. And certainly there are a great many things to know in the world that don't have anything to do with stories. But there are also a great many things in the world that can't be known at all or can't be known very well without stories. You can see the point if you think first about children. They are always asking why, they want an explanation for things, but they are also always asking, tell me a story, tell me a story. And the reason for that is that we have built into us through the work of evolution, we have built into us, conserved in us, cognitive capacities for social interaction, for functioning as a social group. So we have cognitive capacities that have not been much studied in the past, but now are the subject of intense scrutiny. And these cognitive capacities enable us to know persons as persons, to connect with them in what is now called mind reading, to connect with them in empathetic cognition. And for these kinds of cognitive capacities to do their work, we generally need to be in some sort of sensory contact with the persons we are knowing. But often there are a great many things to know about persons that are complicated, that are things to learn about over time. And these are the things that we know through narrative. We connect with one another not just in personal ways. We connect with one another through the stories that we tell. And because stories are important to us for understanding ourselves and the world in which we live as persons, some of these stories in great power and richness are preserved within a culture and transmitted from generation to generation. If you mean to study the great questions of life, but you are dismissive of stories, then you will miss a great deal of the depth and power of what there is to know about ourselves and the world in which we live. So we have inherited many of these wonderful stories from other cultures, but in the West we also have the great foundational narratives of the biblical stories. And they never run out, they never run dry. So how many people, how many generations have thought deeply about the story of Job, for example, and there is something always more to learn there. So if, as philosophers, we hold on to our philosophical training and we prize clarity, distinction, rigor, things of that nature, arguments, if we prize the communal discipline of philosophy, which learns where the holes in the arguments are from social exchange, if we do all those things, but we add in narrative, deep, careful, thoughtful attention to narrative, our work will be richer, deeper, more powerful, and more lasting than if we think we can function without narrative. So the ways in which we can come together across our cultural differences, our professional differences, our personal differences, and see what we can do to add narrative into our ordinary philosophical or theological work, that is what we are here in Jerusalem exploring. And I would say our exploration has been really just a wonderful success.